Hey, Lab Coat Agents, it's Tristan, and we've got Michael Hellickson, one of our favorite people. I love you, Michael. You're awesome, bro.
Right back at you, brother.
Today, we're talking about U.S.P., and it's not some foreign thing. Don't worry about it. I'm going to let Michael explain it, but the very first time I heard about U.S.P. was from Michael Hellickson. I had no idea what the hell that meant. So, Michael, what does it mean, and why do we need it?
You know, USPs, it's not that, it seems mystical. People are like, oh, what's a USP? Like, I got to have one. But really all it is it's a unique selling proposition. And people call this all kinds of different things, right? You can call it a unique selling proposition. I can't remember her name, but there's a gal that wrote a book now. She's got unique value proposition. That's her way of putting it.
Oh.
You know, here's the thing. At the end of the day, what it is it's, what's your elevator pitch? What makes you different than the other 1.9 million real estate agents out there? And why in the world would anybody want to talk to you? And that's a big challenge in the industry today, because I love it when, especially I hear this in luxury a lot, you know, oh, well, Michael, I deliver a world-class customer experience and that's my USP. Like, are you kidding me? Like everybody's got, that's the thing unique about that. Everybody says they've got the best customer service. Tell me what's unique about that. And why, if I'm a consumer out there and you say, oh, I give great customer service, why would I care? Because I expect that out of every agent I work with. And it's kind of like, you know, people used to say, oh, well, I'm going to do a free market analysis. That was a great USP 40 years ago, okay? But not today, right? That's like saying, I'm on AOL. Like, what's that? Like, does that even exist? Or MySpace? Look, I've got a MySpace page. Give me a break. Nobody cares, right?
Yeah. Very true, buddy.
You've got to figure out what's unique, right? And that's the big thing.
So how do you find your USP, man? Because the very first time, so for those of you listening, I was coached by Michael Hellickson too a while back, and one of the things we did talk about was a USP, and I didn't know. I go, well, where do I start, Michael? So help us all out. Tell us, where do we start with a USP? Do we copy somebody else? Do we look inwardly at what we do? What do we do?
Well, let's start with, you got to understand why you got to have one. Like, you have to truly believe that you have to have a USP. And if you want to do more, and here's the thing, if all you ever want to do is repeat and referral business and you never plan on going big, then you may not need a USP. It's okay, right? Like, you just own it, right? If that's all you're going to do. But if you want to go big, right? If you really want to sell as many homes as you can, and we got to look inward, because a lot of people say, you know, oh, I don't need to be a big agent. I don't have to get to that level. And I think a lot of times people say that as an excuse for poor production, right? So if we can get past that, if we can cut through all the BS and really just say, okay, look, I want to sell more homes. And I would venture to say that the vast majority of professional real estate agents out there want to sell more homes. Okay, so if you want to sell more homes, you have to attract more people to you, and you have to get people to really want, like, they got to be dying to get in contact with you. It's kind of like the mouse, right? If I've got a mouse on one side of the wall and I got cheese on the other side of the wall, what is the mouse going to, like, what's going to be so compelling about this cheese that the mouse will chew through the wall to get there, right? So what's your cheese, right? And so that being said, in terms of starting with this USP, it doesn't matter what matters to you at this point. It doesn't matter what other people are doing at this point. What matters is what's going to compel the mouse to chew through the freaking wall, right? Who's the mouse? That's your consumer.
Wow.
So all that matters in selecting my USP is what's it going to take to get that consumer to chew through the wall to get to me? And so what does that mean? So you've got to ask yourself, well, what does the consumer want? Because that's what matters. What's in it for them? So as an example, probably the most powerful USP for 20 years, and it's different today. I'll tell you how it's different in a moment, but probably the most powerful USP in 20 years was I'll sell your home in 30 days guaranteed, or I'll buy it.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, right. And like you and I were talking the other day, or not the other day, earlier, just before we started this, about how virtually every single agent on the planet that does over 400 transactions a year has a USP. And you think about all the biggest companies out there, Redfin has a USP. What's Redfin's USP? What's different? What's unique about Redfin?
Well, that they'll do it for less, pretty much, right?
They cut costs, right? So their USP
Yeah.
is we'll do it for 1% or Purple Bricks or, like all these big companies, or look at Open Door, right? Like what's their USP? We'll buy it. Like, I mean, it's literally, you've got to ask yourself, these massive companies, they all have a USP. I need a USP too. Every one of us needs one. So for all these people that were doing over 400 transactions a year, the vast majority of them for 2 decades, the vast majority of them were using guaranteed sale as their USP. Now, what we learned through that process is that guaranteed or I buy it worked really well, particularly in a down market, right?
Yeah.
So for a long time, that USP worked really well in terms of getting interest, getting people into the family, getting people to want, to want your cheese, getting people to want to chew through that wall. Well, in a seller's market, that USP isn't as strong. And even in a down market, we found something that works better. And here's what we found. What we found was when you changed it from guaranteed or I'll buy it to guaranteed or I'll sell it for free, the conversion rate went through the roof. And the reason why is, number one, when you do guaranteed or I'll buy it, people are skeptical about whether or not you'll actually buy it. And even if they believe that you'll buy it, what do you think they think?
Well, they think that, well, dude, they just think it's not real. That's what I always thought. I was like,
first and foremost, you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
They think it's not real. And even if they do think it's real, then they think, okay, wait a minute, you're going to want me to cut my price so you can buy it at a huge discount and make a profit on it. Yep. Which is true, right? I mean, in most cases.
Of course, that's the only way it'll work. Most cases.
Right. No, you're right. And so now when we flipped that and we went to sold or I'll sell it for free, it was A, more believable, and B, nobody had that skepticism. They felt like they could get their price, and the numbers went through the roof. And you and I talked about this in terms of Malibu, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you go out and you list a $5 million house in Malibu, and you say, I'll guarantee I'll sell it in 69 days or I'll sell it for free.
Yep.
What if you sell it in 70 days? What do you do then?
What do you do, man?
I'll tell you what I would do. I would go, so part of my guarantee, I would make sure, and we have forms. In fact, here, I'll put it in the chat here. So Tristan, if you want to share this anywhere you can.
Yeah.
But we've got forms there on the download. It's kind of our guarantee terms and conditions. One of the terms and conditions in our guarantee is, if you take advantage of this, so let's say it takes me 70 days instead of 69 days to sell it, then you agree to do a video testimonial for me about how I sold your house for free. And let me tell you something. If I had to sell some guy's $5 million house for free, man, I would promote the heck out of that. I would be going, every single person in Malibu would see that video 3 times. I would do whatever I'd be delivering little freaking tablets on their porch so that they could watch the video. I would do whatever it took to make sure every single one of them saw it, because guess what they're going to say? This guy's no joke. He's not only did he sell a $5 million house, he didn't charge the guy because he took him 1 day extra. I got to at least interview this guy. At the very least, I got to interview him.
It does set you apart, dude.
It's huge. It's huge. And that's what it's about, right? It's about, I want that cheese so bad, I'll chew through the wall to get to it. So USPs are huge, and there's lots of different variations on USPs. So to give you some examples, there's buyer and there's seller USPs, right? So some examples of seller USPs might be guaranteed sold or I buy it, guaranteed seller or sold or I'll sell it for free, or how about sell through me, move for free, right? So you pay their moving costs, or buy from me, move for free, or buy this home for me and I'll sell yours for free. So you got to get really thinking about what is it that my audience is going to be, what's going to be their hot button, what is it that they're going to be compelled to chew through the wall to get to.
So after you've decided that you want to do a USP, right, and you're like, okay, I want to do this, next thing you have to do is find your audience and who you're talking to, so that USP really resonates with them. Okay. I like
for example, like for you, saying, you're not going to do I would guess you're probably not going to do a buy from me and I'll move your stuff for free in Malibu, right? Like those people in Malibu are going to be really particular about the company they're going to use to move their stuff. They're not going to, I don't even know if I'd want to get involved in that whole thing, because all it takes is for the movers to scratch something or drop their Monet on the ground or whatever.
It'd go a little crazy, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but sold or I'll sell it for free would be a great USP there.
Yeah, I like that.
But
That's definitely eye-catching.
What's that?
I said that's definitely catchy. I like that.
And you just hit the nail on the head. So in terms of if it's going to be a good USP, to be a great USP, number one, it's got to be compelling. Number two, it has to be memorable, right? If it's not memorable, it's not going to work. Number three, it's got to be unique enough that either nobody else in the area is offering it, or at least it's so unique that they can't ignore it. That it's more than just compelling at that point, right? It's like you've got to induce FOMO.
So nice, I love it, dude. That's very true. What are some of the things that you're seeing? Some of the agents that you're coaching or coaches that you coach, what are they doing with USP that stands out?
First of all, they're picking something that's unique and compelling, and it's shock and awe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that by and large, a lot of them are using, and by the way, guaranteed sold works best in a down market. So a lot of them recently have been doing buyer side guarantees, like the love it or leave it guarantee, right? So when you buy from me, if you don't absolutely love the house in the first 18 months, I'll sell it for free for you, right? So who cares? So 18 months from now, you get a listing and you don't get paid on the listing side. They still got to pay the selling agent. But who cares? I got a sign in the ground. I can hold open houses. I can get leads from that. Like Josh Zollinger, right? You know, it's Josh down in.
I know Josh. He's awesome.
Yeah, Josh is one of our clients. So before coaching with us, the previous 3 years were between $300,000 and $400,000 a year in GCI. First year coaching with us, $1.6 million in GCI.
That was a little bit of a jump, Michael.
Little bit, right? Literally quadrupled his business, right?
So why did he quadruple his business?
I'll give you one very simple example. Number one was that he started doing open houses, right? Which he sold 8 houses in Ladera Ranch off open houses last year, right? In the last 12 months. You start thinking about the dollars on those. He had an agent. He actually asked an agent if they'd hold an open house for him on a $2 million house. The agent told him no.
Whoa.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like opportunity missed, right? So anyway, long story short though, like Josh, if you're looking at what would he offer as a USP?
Yep. What would he do?
He's going to pick something more like, like right now you might do a buyer side USP, like a love it or leave it guarantee. So imagine he sells somebody a $5 million house in Ladera Ranch. 18 months later, they're not in love with the house. They call him up, dude, we want to take advantage of your guarantee. Cool, man. I just got a $5 million listing. Yeah, I don't get paid on the listing side, but my chances of converting that to buyer transactions and what it does for me in that community are ridiculous. And so the money comes. You guys just have to realize that it may not come on that transaction. But so often I hear people say, well, I couldn't possibly afford to do one for free. Like that's the best marketing you get is having a listing.
Yeah, I agree.
Tristan's in shock and awe right now.
Well, I think the thing is that people don't realize that because I've got this all my life, which is what you're doing that for free. I'm like, but the free stuff that you do is the stuff that's going to make you money.
And the most money long term.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. And so, take those opportunities that you can, and while you're taking them, figure out your USP, because you have opportunities. Every demographic, every city is different. So I think once you figure out what those people really are attracted to, and the majority are the same, dude. Like what you did, you had a USP when you were selling like 1,000 properties a year. What was your USP? Because I think for the general population, it works, right?
Oh, they love it. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, and again, it depends on the market cycle, right? So I used when the market was down. So 2007 to 2011, I used guaranteed sale because the market, and actually I started, it was right in 2007 when I started using that guarantee, because as the market's doing this, and we've already seen it, sellers right now in especially in California, I don't know if you're seeing it in Malibu yet, but dude, Southern California, big time, they're starting to see the market flipping, right? There's more listings on the market. The inventory levels are increased. Sales prices are starting to come down. You're seeing a greater number of price reductions. And the number of actual sales is down. So all signs are indicating that we're already in the shift. Well, here's the thing. As you start coming into that shift, people are a lot pickier about who they'll list with. They're not going to list with Cousin Jethro to do them in solid anymore, right? They
Yeah.
want to list with a professional. They're going to call Tristan Ahumada because dude knows how to market. Like the guy comes in, he's got a plan. He's not just showing up thinking he's going to throw it in the multiple, put a sign in the yard and a lockbox on the door and somebody else is going to sell it. No, he's got a game plan. He's going to spend some money on marketing. He's going to get professional photos. He's got a list of a checklist of things he has to do to get my home sold, which nobody else does. And so in a market like that, all day long, I'm using the guaranteed sale USP.
I have a question for you because this was brought up in this market that we're in right now, that we're like in the middle of a shift. Some markets are already shifted, but California, for the most part, is in the middle of it. And and this is a question from April, our market is shifting right now. What would the USP be for this specific market? And somebody said, well, why don't you do this? If we sell your home, I'll donate 10% of my commission to your charity. Would that work? I'm not sure if that will work.
Okay,
I think
there's two very different things here, and
that's what I think. I think that's more like branding, right?
yes, and so it's yes, it's kind of a branding thing. Yes. So the USP that I would use right now, and by the way, guys, it's like fishing, right? Anybody here that fishes, you got to use the right lure at the right time of day, the right time of year. Like if the mayflies are hatching, you use a mayfly lure. You know, if something else is hatching, you use that kind of lure. Whatever the fish are eating right now, that's what you use. That's why you pump that. I'm not going to go into detail, but anyway, you've got to use.
Makes total sense, dude.
Right. And so right now, what's the right lure to use for, and we're going to talk primarily about sellers because this is what cracks me up. Most agents, when the market's doing this and it's getting harder and harder to sell houses, most agents will start looking for buyers, right? Because they think because they, if they've got a buyer, I know at least I'll sell a house. If I get a listing, who knows if it sells or it doesn't. That is the opposite of what you should be doing. When the market's doing this, you need to go after as many listings as you can. We've got clients right now that have 50 to 150 listings. I'm telling them to go for 100 to 300 listings. They need to get as many homes on the market as they possibly can right now. So in this shifting cycle, and April, great question, the USP that you use right now is the best one that I would use is guaranteed sale. And I would do guaranteed sold or I'll sell it for free. Now, if you're going to use a guarantee, there's a couple of things you have to do. One, you've got to make sure you've got the right terms and conditions in there. And that's something you're going to talk with your broker about as well. That's actually number two, is you've got to sit down with your broker and make sure that you and your broker are comfortable with you offering this guarantee. Because if you don't, your broker could get in a lot of trouble. Go ahead.
Well, Michael, some of these agents that are at 100% brokerages, it won't even matter. So that's pretty sweet, right? But still, I suggest that you definitely talk to your broker.
Absolutely. Definitely make sure you're not getting, because you don't want to get your broker in trouble. Now, the other thing is on your listing appointments, you need to make sure they sign something that opts them in or out of your guarantee. No matter what, even if they're opting out, you got to get their signature saying, I don't want the guarantee. It's very important.
So on a guaranteed sale, and this is Tristan asking a question, dude. On a guaranteed sale, if I'm talking to you as my client and I'm saying, look, you called me obviously from the guaranteed sale, and this over here is the way that I'll guarantee the sale, meaning these are the things that I need in order for this to actually happen. Because if you don't do any of these, then I'm not going to do the guaranteed sale. What are those things that need to be done? Number one, I'm assuming is price, right? But what are some of those things that we need to look for to do this guaranteed sale?
So let's do this. So I've got a list here. Do you want me to go over the 10% first and then come back to that list of things that need to be in the thing in the terms?
I'll let you decide which one you want to do.
Well, let me do the 10% thing first, the charity.
Okay, cool.
Because that's faster.
Okay.
So on the charity piece, Nick Shivers is a really good friend of mine, part of Club Wealth. He's a great guy. I don't know. Do you know Nick, Tristan?
Dude, the name sounds familiar. So I probably do.
He's Keller Williams agent out of Portland, Oregon. Does for the last 10 years. He's very consistently done about 350 transactions a year, pretty consistently for the last 10 years, almost 15 years now, in fact. So that said, he has a charity that he supports called Sell a Home, Save a Child. We are huge supporters of this charity. And that's what he does. Every, portion of every commission dollar goes toward that charity. Now, he doesn't specify the portion, but he's very clear that a portion of it does go there. And I'll tell you that it has made a big difference on him getting listings and transactions, particularly in the upper end, particularly with people who are used to giving to charity and who value giving to charity in a big way.
Yeah.
And now, that being said, that's not his USP. He also runs a guaranteed sale program. That is his USP in a downward trending market. Okay, so let's go into those terms and conditions. So if I'm going to offer a guaranteed sale, what are some of the things that the seller has to agree to? And we've got a list here. You can get it if you go to that link, Tristan, that I gave you. They can get
I'll post it up again.
Yeah, so it's just, I can't remember. It's like clubwealth.com/something about
guaranteed sale and other dash. I got it.
It's a crazy weird.
I'll bring it up again.
But if you go there, you can get the download, and it'll give you all of these things that I'm kind of going through right now, and more that I'm not going to have time to go through. But understand. So first, they got to initially agree on a competitive sales price. And for my purposes, in my agreement, I want that to be at 10% below market. Now, I explained to them that, look, when we price it at 10% below market, chances are I'll actually sell it for 2 to 3% above market value, because by pricing it super aggressively, we get multiple offers, we work them against each other, we get the price up, you benefit by getting to sell it for much more.
Okay.
So that's the first piece. It's got to be listed with us, cannot be listed with anybody else.
That's a great point.
Right? And I know that sounds crazy.
It's a great point, dude.
You got to get to that level with these things, right? Because if you don't, some knucklehead is going to come in and they're going to try and game your guarantee. So the contract has to be signed at the time they're signing up for the guaranteed listing program to apply. So in other words, they got to sign up for the listing, and they got to sign up for the program at the listing appointment, or they don't get it.
Got it.
They agree to list at 100% of appraised value, no more, provided by company. So if we disagree on price, then we get an appraisal, and they cannot be higher than the appraised value. Also, we're going to set a price reduction schedule, and they got to be willing to follow the price reduction schedule.
Oh, wow, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, heck yes. Oh, yeah. Got to have the price reductions built in every 2 weeks.
I see it. I'm following the doc here. I'm going to post it up on the group.
It's good, right?
That's a really solid document, bro.
It's got to be every 2 weeks. And then there's got to be, so let's see, another one is, actually, let's talk about commission real quick. I'm sorry, that's number 17. We'll just start, we're at number 7 here. It's only between us and between the company and the client, not with any employees or affiliates of the company. You got to make sure you're not tying other people into this that aren't going to fulfill this guarantee. So it's only an agreement between your company and that person.
Okay.
It's also up to our sole discretion whether we accept someone's property into the guarantee program or not. No properties outside our market area are qualified for the guarantee. The seller agrees not to have a for rent sign or a rent to own sign or any other sign of their own in front of the property at the same time. Nice.
I like that.
Yeah, they pull that crap all the time. Like that's a bad one. And what they're doing is they're undermining you. They'll permit, this is a very important one. They've got to permit access to the property 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and maintain property in excellent condition during the listing period. That's
wow.
Yeah, because another thing they'll do is they'll have their dog running around, or they'll have literally they'll make the place a mess if they're trying to game the system and just get you beyond your time frame, so they get that commission for free.
That's good. I like that.
Oh yeah, they got to allow you to hold open houses. If they don't allow you to hold open houses, then guess what? Not going to happen. The purchase price of here's a good one. The purchase price agreed for the guarantee will be based on the lesser of the original list price minus 7%. Now, this is if I'm buying it, right? This is guaranteed or I'll buy versus, and you would take this out if it's guaranteed or I'll sell it for free. But if you're going to buy it, then the way you factor, you've got to spell out ahead of time how you're going to base your sales price when you buy it from them. So what we do is we do original list price minus the 7%, which reflects the commissions we charge, minus 25%. or fair market value as determined by a market analysis performed by our company minus 35%. So we want a pretty good discount on these things.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really good discount, dude.
I could tell you, Nick, for example, he's bought this year, I think he said 20 or 22 houses this year already.
What market is he in and what price point? Because that makes sense.
Portland, Oregon, and he's going to be 350 to 450.
Yeah, that's a solid market, dude. Wow.
Oh yeah. But here's the thing. It's kind of like what you focus on grows, right? And so he focuses on this. He wants to buy these properties.
Well, dude, at a 35% discount?
Well, I don't think he's taken as big a discount. I think he's taken much less of a discount, but he's still making money on it.
Yeah, because you turn around and flip it, you have time. You have time to sit on it a little bit.
You can. We like buy and hold. I'll tell you this. Most of my buddies and I are buying and holding for the most part because, I mean, look at all the hedge funds right now. What are they doing? They're not flipping.
Yeah, they're holding right now.
Everything. And they're buying as much as they can get their hands on. You look at Home Partners.
They're about to buy a lot more.
Let me tell you, you're right about that. You look at Home Partners of America. What's happening with Home Partners of America right now? Those guys they're starting to take over. They're gonna buy everything they can. Them, Blackstone, all those guys.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's huge. Seller will pay all customary closing costs. They'll agree to make any lender required repairs. And complete the same before the 180-day period starts at the 180 days to get it closed. So when we buy a property, we want 180 days before we have to close it in case we want to flip it before we take ownership. So then what we'll do is we'll sell it subject to. So we just essentially we assign our contract to the new buyer, which means
Question for you from the audience. There's two different ones. One is who pays for the appraisal if we're going to do an appraisal?
Seller pays for it. I choose the appraiser.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I like that, dude. I like how you're making it, what you're doing here, and I don't know if people see it, but this whole thing that you've broken down here, the guaranteed program guidelines, it's really setting apart the really serious people that want to do this.
Right.
And if you're really serious and you're going to go for it and you're like, okay, great. I have a serious seller here. And if they don't fit into it, you also have a second option. You're like, well, dude, if you don't want to go that route, we can also do it regular, right?
The normal way. That's right. No,
which is super awesome.
Really, again, what are you doing with this thing, right? You're throwing it out there and you're setting the hook, right? You're getting them to want to chew through the wall to find out more about this. And once they get to the other side of the wall, they may or may not eat that piece of cheese. They might eat the piece of cheese next to you. But at the end of the day, they're going to eat something. It's one of my cheeses. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Plus, dude, when you meet with them, you as the agent, you don't have to work with them if you don't want to.
I agree with you. That said, I take anybody, man. I don't care. I don't care if you're overpriced. I don't care if you're a knucklehead.
No, but I'm saying if you know somebody's it just contacted you to try to screw with you, like they want to try to take advantage of this one, I'd be like, you know what, this isn't for me.
Yeah. Right. No, you're right about that. It's funny. This is how using guarantees like this is how we got to 750 listings in active and pending status at one point.
Only?
Not bad, right?
That's insane, dude.
But I mean, you think about it, half of that was REO, so only half of that was retail. But you're talking 375-ish retail listings at one time. So this is what got them there, right? And you guys, you think about this and you think about, well, what kind of listings do I take? Am I only taking the stuff I know is going to sell? Look, as much as I would love for it all to sell, at the end of the day, I don't care if it sells or not. It's not my job to make their house sell. They have to choose to price it properly. They have to choose to play their role in this, and we're a partnership. They got to do their job. I got to do my job. If I do my job and they do their job, we'll make it. It'll sell. We'll get it done. If they don't do their job or I don't do my job, it's not going to sell. So all I can control is what I can control. But at the end of the day, what I do know is when I had 750 signs in the ground, guys, I was getting 6,352 sign calls per month. Think about that number. Write this down. Everybody should write this down. Seriously, like if all you get out of today is this one thing, write this down. A sign in the yard beats a sign in the car every time. Right?
Dude.
I mean, it's true. All right, so then where were we? We're at the seller's going to pay the closing cost. And by the way, when you guys go to that link that Tristan put in there, There's a video of me walking you through a whole bunch of different types of USPs and all that stuff. Go there, check that stuff out. Okay. There's a lot of, there's a whole video blog post, all that stuff. Let's see. Perfect. The property's got to appraise at 100% of the original listing contract price. The listing commission. Oh, this is another one. If you want the guarantee, this one's huge. You want to participate in our guaranteed sale program, the original listing office commission has to be 10% or greater.
Whoa, can you repeat that so people can listen?
So if you want to be a part of our guaranteed sale program, if I'm on the listing appointment and you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, want to take advantage of this, guess what? You have to pay us an original listing commission of at least 10%. And I tell you what, at 18 years old, I was taking listings of between 8 and 10% when I was brand new in the business. I was still in high school. The reason, and everybody says, oh, but Michael, things have changed. That was 2 decades ago. Okay, first of all, yeah, okay, I was in high school 2 decades ago. Great, I'm old. All right, I get it. But that being said, understand, it's not that the market's changed. It's that your mindset has changed. If Tristan wants to take a listing at 10%, guess what? Tristan's going to take a listing at 10%. He's capable of it. It's a choice he makes. It's not a choice they make. Price is only an issue in the absence of value. They don't care what you charge. If Tristan can articulate and clarify and really show them that by listing with him at 10%, they're going to make an extra 10% on the sale of the house or 15% on the sale of the house, what are they going to do? Of course they're going to do it. Right? Yeah,
of course, because it means a sale and it means more money in their pocket. Here's a question from Bryce. Bryce is a friend, Bryce Edwards. I think you know him too.
Bryce?
His question is, let's see here. My brokerage asks us for approval below a certain amount of commission because it's not 100% brokerage. What do I do then, or how can I approach them? How does that look?
So, excuse me, first of all, I'm okay with that because it'll force you to be stronger on your commission, right? Yeah. If there's one thing that bums me out, it's agents that give up. And I'm not saying that you would do this, Bryce, but you and I both know there's lots of agents out there that are weak on commission, right? That they cave and, somebody says, will you reduce your commission? And they panic immediately and okay, sure, I'll cut my commission, whatever I got to do to get the listing. Quit being weak. They don't need you to cut their commission. They're just asking the question most of the time. That being said, if your brokerage asks us for approval, I guess really that's the answer to your question. Maybe I'm not answering it correctly. And Bryce, if there's a deeper question, just let me know. But at the end of the day, you should never. Let me back up. I see what you're saying. You're saying if I'm saying I'm going to sell it for free.
Yeah. Here, dude, I'll give you really specifics. Yeah. It's Douglas Elliman. I was with Douglas Elliman for a little bit, and if you sell it for less than 6%, then you could have a situation where then they want to make up the difference from your commission, right? And so he's worried about it being at 100% if he needs to go that route. What the hell does he do? How can he approach the company and ask them, hey, can we do something different?
I'll tell you what I would do. I'd go sitting down, I'd talk with my broker, and I'd say, hey, listen, I just was talking to a guy that was very consistently listing and selling over 100 homes a month, and he and I and a guy named Tristan Ahmada, who's also a big freaking baller and done a ton of business, we were having this conversation about how they did it. And one of the keys to their success was running a guaranteed sale program whereby if they didn't sell it within X number of days, they would sell it for free. So what I need to know from you, Mr. Broker, is are you willing to work with me on a program like this, assuming that you and I together build out the terms and conditions in a way that's acceptable to both you and me, or do I need to be shopping for a new broker? And I think when you put it in those terms, you're going to get the answer you need. Maybe not the answer you want, but you're going to get the answer you need. So
yeah. Bryce rephrased it. That's it. That was the question. Yeah, bro. So you know what? Sit down with them, explain to them what it is. And if they don't like it, then maybe it's time to move brokerages, man. That's what it comes down to.
I agree. And here's the thing. I'm not telling you to move brokerages. Look,
I am.
Which broker you're with. Yeah,
good. If they don't fit, you move. That's it.
Well, that I do agree with. Your broker does need to be a good fit for you and vice versa. But that being said, 9 times out of 10, that can all be worked out.
I agree with you. That's true.
Look, you can be successful at whatever brokerage you're at. Your broker has nothing to do with your success. They're providing an environment whereby you can be successful. Your job is to go be successful. It's not their fault if you're not.
All right. Another question here. This
I
one's
love John's. You go to John's?
yeah, that
Dude,
was it.
hit it, dude. Ask that one. I love that one.
All right, so John's concerned here. We've got John's question. John Demanis, and he says, my broker has never allowed USP in the past. My fear is that if I explain the terms properly, so there's no more fear or risk, the broker will then copy all the terms and show all 150 plus agents in the office how to do it and dilute the effectiveness.
I love this question.
That's good.
So let's start with this. First of all, I heard once that if you actually pick up the phone and you call 100 people, you'll get somewhere between 4 and 8 of those people to answer the phone, and you'll schedule an appointment with probably 2 of those people. And of those people that you set an appointment with, you'll probably list at least half of them. And so I'm really worried, though, that if all the other agents in my office find that out, everybody's going to start making phone calls, and they're going to start setting appointments, and it's going to dilute the effectiveness of making phone calls. Yeah. Here's the reality. It ain't going to happen, right? Why? Because it takes freaking effort. And that's something that 99% of the agents in your office aren't going to do. Why? Because they haven't done it for the first 30 years of their life. What makes you think they're going to do it in the next 30? They're not going to do it. One of my very good clients was the vice president of Jack in the Box. He was actually getting ready to become the new CEO of Jack in the Box. He actually ended up being the CEO of Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf and some other big companies.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool guy, really nice guy. And he was telling me, he says, Michael, I could take our entire operations manual. I could be sitting on a plane in first class next to the CEO of Burger King, and I could take our entire operations manual and leave it sitting on my seat, get up and walk off the plane, and I wouldn't worry a bit about whether or not he was going to do anything with that, because it requires work, it requires implementation, and people are so busy just getting by that they don't have the time to learn and implement new ideas. Yeah. And nor will they put the work in to implement them effectively. So, dude, I wouldn't worry at all about that.
Yep, I wouldn't either. I think you hit it right on when they don't have the time to implement anything, because it takes time to learn all that.
That's right. And here's the reality. It only dilutes the effectiveness if a whole bunch – like, I'll give you an example. And I don't want to pick on another coach because Mike, I don't want to mention any names because Mike Ferry was one of my first coaches. In fact, he was my first coach.
Dude, he was my first coach too.
I know, back. I think for me it was back 28 years ago when I was 18 and he was a young spry 98 years old. But I'm just kidding. Mike was the master. I mean, he taught me how to prospect, right? And he had great scripts, and his scripts still work pretty well today. But here's the reality: in some markets, dude, you've got 40 people using the same exact script. So every time the seller picks up the phone, they're like, so when do you plan on moving? Oh, okay. Well, when would that be? Are you kidding me? So that is diluting the effectiveness, but there's not nearly enough people using guaranteed sale as a USP to even remotely dilute the effectiveness.
And it's not easy, dude. It's not unless they have somebody like you who's done it, who can kind of break it down. It's not easy. It's not like just read a script and try it over and over. There's a process, and it's a little scary if you're like, oh, wow, I screwed that up. Now I have to sell their home for free. There's that fear, which is a huge fear.
And it's funny. It is a huge fear, but here's the thing, you guys. Risk, reward, right? If you want great reward, you're going to have to take a little calculated risk. Now, I'm all about taking calculated risks, not unnecessary, crazy, stupid risks. But you're going to have to take a little bit of risk if you want to get to the reward.
Yep. That's what it comes down to, bro.
Yeah, it really does. So don't be afraid of this. Just do it right. Make sure that you're learning how to do it properly. Take it a step at a time. Make sure you don't screw up and forget to talk to your broker about it. And once you get with your broker about it, you guys come up with this is how we're going to do it. Then go big. Then get it out there, right? I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You sell a house or two for free. So what, right? What are you doing right now? That's a house or two you wouldn't have had anyway, right? So what's the worst case scenario? You end up with a few extra sign calls from a listing you wouldn't have had anyway because you weren't doing what it took to get them to begin with.
Yeah, very true. Bernadette says brokerages do make a difference with the amount of support and their response time when a question arises. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Here's the thing. What do I really want my broker for, right? I mean, think about this. I'll tell you, if I've got a broker who's really in touch with the things that I don't want to be in touch with, right? Like, I don't want to worry about dealing with, an agent complains because I forgot to call ahead of time before I showed their property or whatever. Now I got to go to the MLS and deal with arbitration because somebody got their, shorts in a twist because of, my logo on my sign was the wrong size or something crazy. I mean, it's like, really? Are you freaking kidding me? That's that stuff. Brokers are great at dealing with that. And I don't want to have to keep in my touch with what are the new sign requirements, right? Like that's the stuff your broker's responsible for. And they'll make sure that you stay out of trouble on that stuff. Yep. That's what they're there for. And they do a great job of it. So do they bring value? Absolutely. You bet they do. I went through some stuff back in the day where I caught our state breaking the law and I took them to task on it. I actually beat them in court. I got sued them and I won. And that caused them to start coming after me. And it ended up resulting in some real challenges for me long-term. And I'll tell you this, if I had been, so I was an independent broker at the time. If I had had a broker whose sole mission in life it was to be a broker, I would have never gone through that because they would have looked at me and they said, oh, no, you're not suing them. Oh, no, you don't, dude. Heck no. Put that attorney away, right? Like, that's not happening. But because I was on my own and I had to make all the decisions myself, I made a bad decision. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the right broker brings a ton of value. Absolutely.
Nice, dude. And then a question here. This is a good question. It's in the Facebook group, though.
So I got to get in it. Did you tag me in that, by the way?
Rick Baker. I'm sorry?
Did you tag me in that? There we go. I think I found it here. Okay, good. I'm logging into it now. So I can.
How much are the built-in price reductions every 2 weeks? Is it 5% at a time, or what does it look like?
So I like 5%, honestly. So I would say when I do a price reduction, anything less than 5% really isn't a price reduction, right? So I want it to be substantial enough that I'm going to attract some more traffic to the property. And also, I want to share something with you guys. Oh my gosh, I just saw this the other day. Please don't be offended when I say this. And Tristan, I know you don't price stuff like this, or I'm assuming you don't. So if you do, just pretend you don't. Okay. But what kind of moron prices something at $9.99, $9.50? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, okay, that's how computers work, right? Mm-hmm. And why would I price it there when all I'm going to get is the people searching from 500 to a million, or from 750 to a million, when I could be pricing it right at $1 million, and I get everybody that's searching from 750 to a million, and I get everybody at $1 million to $1.25 million. You guys are crazy the way you're pricing these properties. And if you screw that up, you are screwing your seller every single time. You got to price it so you expose it to the most part of the market as possible. And the other thing is, always put them on the market when possible. Always put them on the market on Thursday.
Oh, good. That's right? The day we do it, bro.
See? And is there a reason why? Did you choose a reason why?
Yeah, well, it gives people enough time to plan for the open houses. And to me, that's big, especially our first open house, and especially closing it down so nobody shows up before until – I learned that from you. Until it's the open house. That's when everybody shows up the first time. And it blows up.
And so number one is because you guarantee your team that you get to do open houses on that property. So you're going to get as much out of it for your team as you possibly can. Number two, it's going to show up as a new listing all weekend long. So you're going to get maximum traffic through the weekend. Number three, the way I do things and the way we coach people to do things, we don't accept offers until Monday. So you submit an offer on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's awesome. We'll respond to you Monday at 5 o'clock. Why? Because now we get multiple offers over the weekend. We work them against each other, and we get the price up for the seller. Now, some of you are thinking to yourselves, oh, but Michael, it doesn't matter right now. The market's so hot. We get multiple offers all the time. It ain't going to be that way forever. I got news for you. True. There's going to come a time where you're going to need to follow this strategy to get multiple offers happening. And by the way, check out our blog because I got news for you. There's another thing you have to do is you're going to have to learn how to get creative with the way you write offers up to get ahead of multiple offers. And you're going to have to learn how to negotiate on the seller side as the market comes down. You're going to have to learn to negotiate on the seller side to get as much as you can out of people in a declining market, and you have to do it quickly.
I agree. Dude, some great questions.
I love it. I'm hang on one second here. I'm trying to log into to Lab Coat Agents here and take a look at. Here we go.
We got them all. Let's see. Chris said always put it on Thursday. He agreed with you. Bernadette loves you. She's awesome.
Oh, thank you, Bernadette.
Gail was on.
Coaching client too. It's good to see you guys. I see Zollinger's watching right now.
Yeah, Josh is on.
Dude,
so we're good, dude. We got through all the questions. I think anything you want to add on U.S.P? I always love talking about U.S.P.
Here's the thing. Don't be afraid of it. And here's the other thing you have to think about when it comes to USPs. If you don't have a USP, dude, again, what sets you apart? Like, you're just like every other agent out there if you don't have a USP. Oh, but Michael, I'm the neighborhood expert. Not until somebody with a great USP comes in and knocks your butt out of there. Right?
That's true.
I mean, seriously, like, you got to think about that. It's not enough to be, I mean, Tristan, what's the number? Is it I want to say it's 98% of all buyers start their search online now.
It is 98%.
And 72, is it 72? Is that the right number of buyers work with the first agent they come in contact with?
72%. I just saw it yesterday.
Dude, start thinking about those numbers, guys. And here's the real killer, right? 61% of the average agent's business 5 years ago, 61% of the average agent's business came from repeat and referral clients. That number today is down to 44%. Now you think about that decline, what's happening? It's all going online. And so online, okay, there's a few things you can do to set yourself apart. Obviously, you can have more and better reviews, right? That's a big deal. You got to have social proof, but you also need to have that USP. You've got to have that thing that tells it's got to be man bites dog, right? In other words, it's got to be so shocking that they just don't believe it at first, and they're like, okay, I got to learn more about this, see if it's even freaking true, right? If you don't have that, then you're like every other knucklehead out there with 300 5-star reviews that nobody can tell the difference between one from the other.
I have a question. This is my question too. Out of the USPs that you did do, the people who called in on your USP, how many of them went regular sale versus USP route? Do you remember, like, just an estimate? 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3?
So let's first talk the numbers that we're drawing from, right? So I literally, for 15 years, literally listed, not counting REO, just retail, not counting my team, just me going on appointments, was literally listing 50 to 75 homes per month, just retail, right? That was just me. So, and I did that for over 15 years of my career. So we're talking thousands of listing appointments and thousands of listings.
Okay.
Guess how many of those I bought based on the guarantee? And I bought a lot of homes. I owned a lot of rental properties, bought a lot of homes. But guess
from the USP?
Yeah. What's that?
From the USP? How many did you buy?
So how many did I buy from the USP?
I don't know. Probably like 100.
0. Sean.
No way, dude.
Not one. Not once. I had, in fact, in all that time, I had, if I remember right, I had 2 people actually ask me to make an offer. Now, let me back up. Now, remember, I told you about Nick Shivers, right? Nick Shivers is doing a similar type of program, but his goal is different than mine. Right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
His goal is to get them to let him buy the house, because here's the way I looked at it. Why would I want to buy and flip your house, take on all that risk, tie up all that money, and do it for what, 15%? If I'm lucky, I'm going to make maybe 15 when it's all said and done. Or I can just list it and sell it for you, and I can make 7%. And okay, maybe on my side of it, maybe I'm making 3.5% or whatever the number is, and I have 0 risk, and I've taken better care of you, so you're more likely to refer me in the future. All day long.
Well, dude, 100%. So, out of the USP one, out of your listing presentations, how many people took up not and said, hey, buy my home, but how many said, okay, great, I'll put my home price just like you want it, sell it?
So let's start with this. Almost all of them chose to price it the way I want and to do the price reductions and all that stuff. Almost none of them, I can count on one hand the number that ended up at a 10% commission. The vast majority of them, here's what they chose, because I did a menu service, right? So the options were 6, 7 plus, and by the way, all of these are plus $695 transaction fee. So they had 6, 7, or 10%. Guess what? Almost every single one of them chose. It was the one in the middle, which is 7% plus $695 on a 12-month listing agreement with automatic price reductions every 2 weeks.
And that wasn't part of that means they wouldn't choose the guaranteed sale, right?
Correct.
Dude, right. I'm doing that. That's what I'm doing right there.
They didn't care. What you gotta do is you gotta put yourself in the seller's head, right? What do they want? They want their freaking house sold. That's what they want. And they want you to convince them that you're the right guy for the job. That's it. They don't need me. They don't need the guarantee. Now, I will say the way that Nick is getting a bunch of those transactions, right? Like the 20 plus transactions he's purchased this year so far. The way that he's getting that is because some of these people, he'll give them an option. He'll say, okay, so here's what I can do. I can sell it for you on the market as an agent. here's the amount of money I'll get you, and here's how fast I'll get it for you. Or tell you what I can do. If you're willing to take 25% or 20% or whatever the number is less, I can write you a check for this amount of money right now. It's up to you. And he's got a lot, and there's actually people out there now that just for the convenience sake, they just would rather just take the check and you deal with it.
Especially if it's 20% less, dude. And he's saying, I'll get you the cash in like tomorrow or in 5 days.
Correct. Yeah. Now, here's what's really crazy, what you guys got to watch out for. This is what's happening globally in the marketplace, right? You got Open Door, you got some of these other companies anyway, I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but you've got these companies that are going out and buying these houses. Mm-hmm. I think Open Door is going to get that number. They're trying to get that number as low as they can. And they can do it because they've got all this investment money, this hedge fund money that they're in, and Wall Street money that they're using to buy these things. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to narrow that gap. And I'll tell you what, you want to talk about how they're going to become wicked competitive and how they're going to really disrupt the market? It's because they're not going to need a 20% arbitrage. They're going to get it down to 2 to 4% arbitrage. They think about it for a second.
That's crazy.
Yes, I agree. I mean, now how are they making money in that model? If they get it down to 2 to 4% arbitrage, how are they making money in that model? Because it's all this investor money they buy and hold, and they can afford to hold that thing for 10 or 15 years before. Of
course.
So they're playing the long-term game with short-term money. Dude, I'm telling you, it's brilliant, and it's something that's going to be as hard to compete with as Zillow Instant Offers or any of these guys.
Yeah, nobody's looking that route either. That's so funny. Mm-mm. Everybody's being threatened by other things. I guess there's so many things, right? And we just, for some reason, I'm going to go there, but for some reason, people think Zillow is a threat. And I'm like, you know what? No, they're not. It's everybody else that you're not paying attention to that's a threat.
Dude, we just had that conversation today. For example, it's like their concierge program right now, right? So you think about Zillow Concierge. And a lot of people are like, oh, this sucks. The lead volume is going down, and it has to go through their ISAs and yada, and it evens the playing field, right? The low-level agents that aren't doing a lot of business, that aren't super professional, that aren't super on their game, they get the same access as the high-level agents. So it's evening the playing field, right? And while there's some truth to that, here's the other thing that's going to happen. You're going to have a lot of agents bail out of Zillow because of it. And what that's going to do is it's going to open. And look, if I had to choose between Zillow and Realtor.com, I'm taking Realtor.com all day long. No question. Better leads, better conversion, better ROI all day long. That being said, people are going to start bailing out of their zip codes with Zillow. Well, let me ask you, Tristan, would you rather buy any stock or commodity or anything out there when everybody's buying it? Or would you rather buy when everybody's selling it?
When nobody's buying it, dude. That's the key.
That's right. That's the key. And that's what's going to happen, because two things are going to start happening. The market's going to shift, which it already is. And as the market shifts, agents have less money for lead generation. So the market's shifting, lead generation dollars go away, transaction dollars go away. And so now you pick up those lead sources. That's one of the things you got to do in a downward spiraling market, or even a downward trending market. That's when you buy the lead sources, and that's when you recruit to your team. Because another thing that's going to happen is, because they're going to start slowing down on their lead sources, members of these teams are going to start bailing out of the teams because the team's not providing with the kind of lead generation that they were providing with before.
Of course, dude. And December is going to be the month to do it on.
Oh, there's no question. This December, I will tell you this, November, December, January are going to be a phenomenal time to capture market share. If you're a serious team leader right now, you need to be looking at November, December, January as your time to grab, and just it's a land grab. I'm going to grab market share. I'm going to grab lead sources. I'm going to grab agents, and I'm growing my team.
Look, specifically for lead sources, because I bought them for years and I was paying $40K a month. Realtor.com and Zillow. If you're going that route, wait until the end of the month for October, November, and December. They'll give you a sweet deal.
Yep.
Especially if it's December, because they want to end with really high numbers. They'll give you discounts over discounts over discounts, and people are going to be dropping them because they're doing the opposite of what they're supposed to do.
That's exactly right.
Anything you want to add on U.S.P, bud?
Dude, just freaking figure it out. If you're a Club Wealth coaching client, get with your coach and have them work with you on what U.S.P is right for you. If you're not, or even if you are, jump on clubwealth.com and go to that link that Tristan posted in the link here. In fact, I'll post it again on here, Tristan, in the there you go. I posted it in the Facebook conversation there.
Cool.
Go in there, you guys, and watch the video, download the free stuff. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, you got to find a way to separate yourself, and it has to be short. It's your 15-second elevator pitch. So
it is, man. And how do they get a hold of you if they want to see if coaching with you is for them?
Well, that's easy. I mean, I wouldn't even take it to that next step of is coaching right for us. I think the first thing you do is do a strategy session with us. And a strategy session with us is not a pitch for coaching. It's literally you getting on the phone. Well, all our coaches sell more real estate than the people they coach. We have coaches that do 600 to 1,000 deals a year. I mean, literally, these are the ballers of the ballers, right? And they're at all levels. But and they don't have a lot of clients, right? So we maximize the number of clients they can have. They can only have a maximum of 5 coaching clients at a time. So they know you, they know what's going on. But doing a strategy session, you can actually get on the call with one of these guys for 55 minutes. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no sales pitch. And literally what they'll do is they'll look at your business. They'll look at what's working, what's not working, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. And they'll develop a roadmap for you for the next 12 months that you can take with you, whether you sign up for coaching or not. You get this 12-month roadmap on this is what you need to do for the next 12 months.
Nice.
And to get that, here, I'll put the link in here as well. It's www.clubwealth.com/strategy session. And here's the deal. When you do your strategy session, if you want to learn about coaching, you actually have to ask the coach, because if you don't ask the coach, they're not going to tell you about it. And the reason is because we have a strict no pitch policy.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it works. And a lot of our coaches that do strategy sessions.
Yeah, we're all friends, dude.
Yeah, I mean, they're smart. These are good. These people are running really serious businesses and doing very good with it. So,
all right, buddy. Thank you so much. We love having you. So
I appreciate you having me.
Do you know what we're talking about next time?
I have no idea. That's a question. But I'll tell you what. You know what? If you guys have a topic you'd like us to be talking about, put it in the chat here. Put it in the comments, and we'll make sure that we put that on the list of things that you want us to talk about going.
That's a great point, dude. I like that.
Love to do that.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Tristan.
Thanks, Michael.
You bet. Bye-bye.